Hi, this is Ashio, and welcome back to Echo. We are deep into Flynn's route, and all kinds of stuff's happened. Currently, we're sort of kind of hiding out because people are shooting guns outside, but we're going to have an explore anyway. Chase is missing, we don't trust him, and we don't know what's going to go on. And yeah, we'll head outside. Sort of mildly concerned. Leo's quiet as he drives, occasionally checking the rearview mirror. Everybody else is pretty silent too. It's weird being in a car with Cole and him just sitting there quietly, not staring at his phone or anything. It's like he doesn't know what to look at, and is stuck pondering his own thoughts for a change. I look back at Jenna, who's monitoring her phone for any sign that the signal will stay consistent enough to get a message out. Yeah, so this is all from Flynn's perspective. It's hard to believe it, but she was actually trying to apologise earlier. In her own weird way, of course. Part of me wanted to say I was sorry for what I said at the river about how she treats her family, but that'd be lying. I'm not sorry for what I said, but I can tell when something hit hard and hurt more than I'm happy with. People dance around shit all the time when so much of this bullshit could have been avoided if people were just honest with each other. I roll down the window and prop my knees up on the dash, craning my neck some to peer at TJ in the mirror. He knows I'm watching him. Hell, I think everybody's watching him. Even with Socket Man as a cover story, him keeping silent about all this for so long is kinda cruel. Did he truly think not mentioning the fur colour of the person in the water with Sydney was for the best? Maybe he thought he could avoid a situation like this, our group getting shattered. Well, our group's fucked now. No way in hell I want to hang out with anybody but Cole after all this shit. And it wasn't like it was all peaches and gravy these past few years anyway. Chase, TJ and Jenna hadn't so much as texted me since they left for college. And Leo? He used to visit me back at the warehouse when I packed freight. We fucked a couple of times, but he seemed to get more and more disgusted with the arrangement. I couldn't tell if it was with me or him, but it was awkward as hell. I mean, I'm not the sentimental type, but when you're being screwed by somebody and they glance away anytime you look at them, it makes you feel like shit. I eventually had enough. Told him I wasn't his fucking otter and to get a fleshlight like the rest of us. He cut me out of his life right then and there, even stopped visiting Cole. It's shitty watching someone who was once a social butterfly turn into an absolute recluse, and for the first part of this week he was trying so hard to act like his old self that nothing has changed. We're a bunch of weirdos in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Of course we stuck together at first, but as Cole says, shit's broke now. As we make the turn off into Margaret Street, I spot the familiar dust-covered plastic flamingos that adorn Auntie's yard. The manufactured house was built back in the 80s and still dons this sort of faded turquoise colour scheme. She added these pink diamond-shaped bathroom tiles all around the roof's edge a couple years ago too. For Halloween and Christmas, she hangs up neon-coloured tube lighting, and I swear you can see her house lit up from miles away. I'm not entirely sure what aesthetic she's going for. Carl called it vintage trailer trash once, and I guess it's fitting enough. Leo slows the van some as we approach. I don't see any lights on, no car in the driveway. She can't have parked in the garage, shit's still packed full of boxes of Uncle's stuff. Guys, the salamander pokes the glass of the window next to him, pointing at something across the street. That's Karen's place, right? Our old bus driver? It looks like someone's broke in. Is that recent? The coloured glass of the front door is shattered. Piles of Technicolor shards are splayed across the concrete porch. Yeah, very. As in, it wasn't like this when I stopped by this morning. People are taking advantage of emergency services being out. I hope she's okay. Her car's not here either. They broke her statue too. The little sombrero chihuahua man statuette she had next to the door is completely shattered. It's smashed into 100 pieces. The wooden Bienvenido sign that used to hang around his neck is split in half and laying in the dirt. Good. Wow, Jenna mumbles. I clutch my rifle a little tighter, trying to see if there's any movement going on inside the house. It's beyond still, beyond the light swaying of pink lace curtains from the breeze outside. It's still probably best we speak with the mayor. Perhaps with what's going on, she'd return to City Hall. My heart drops in my chest. Yeah, makes sense. Hopefully the crazy guy's gone by now? I dunno, she doesn't usually work Saturdays? Jenna raises an eyebrow at me. Well, this is quite a Saturday, Flynn. Leo sighs, putting the van into gear. City Hall it is. It's well into the night by the time we pull into the gravel parking lot. Sure enough, Auntie's teal hatchback Jeep is parked by the side of the building. Datsun squints at it and points. A Dastra bumper sticker. On the chrome bumper, there's a decal of what I guess is a silhouette of Captain Amicus with some sort of insect on its face. In golden spacey font it reads, "These things are harmless, don't worry." I didn't know your aunt was cool. She's not. I grumble idly, my mind racing, as I try to think of a distraction to keep everyone away outside. Everyone but Carl and I are already getting out of the van. The ram gives me a nervous look, before nodding at me and speaking up. Dudes, wait a second. What? Leo's tone is curt as he looks back at the ram, who's sluggishly putting himself outside. I feel like I'm gonna be sick. Now, it's all that freeze-dried ice cream. It's shitty, I can't handle it. Carl begins to make retching noises, and Jenna quickly covers her ears. Oh god, Carl. Please, just don't throw up in the van, yeah? Guys. Carl continues to make some of the most visceral, gut-wrenching, irping sounds that I've ever heard. They practically sound wet. Guys, I turn and see what TJ's trying to get our attention for. A whole bunch of cars are driving down the road in our direction, like a convoy. I recognise the one in the front. It's Mark in his SUV. He works here at City Hall. They start to pull into the parking lot, it quickly filling up to the point where folks are starting to park on the road. What's going on? Here's my chance. That's Mark. Maybe he'll have some answers. I need to head inside real quick. I'll be right back. Jenna nods slightly, watching what looks like a bunch of townsfolk get out of their cars in front of us. I pass the still hunched over Cole and give him a squeeze on the shoulder. Thanks. I feel like I'm actually going to puke now after that. Don't. I head inside. Yeah, Cole covered for us so we can get a head start. It's quiet when I enter, though I can hear the subtle sounds of shuffling paper coming from down the hall. I'm starting to feel this strange sort of pang in my head, like someone's pressing an ice pack to the front of my skull. Maybe it's because I'm nervous. Regardless, here I go. I walk lightly, peering around the corner, into Auntie's office. Her fingers flick along various pages within a manila folder, her tropical flower print scarf swaying with her every movement. I watch her, illuminated only by the soft glow of the moonlight outside. I'm wrought with this uneasy sort of feeling where I can't tell if she actually knows that I'm here or not, or whether she cares. It's a familiar feeling, but never one I quite got used to. There's a hell of a ruckus outside. You looking for something? Anything of substance regarding the whole hysteria business? She speaks plainly. What? I'll tell you in a second. Is Mark here yet? She cranes her neck to peer out the tiny slitted window in the corner of her office, yet there's not much of a view other than the side of a sagebrush. I saw him putting up in his SUV outside with like a whole convoy of folk following him. Is this about Clint? She looks up, seeming to notice my repeater for the first time. Her brow furrows. You know, under any other circumstances, I'd give you a chewing out for bringing that inside. I did hear he's been making a hell of a scene around town, waving a gun around. Figured it was a meth binge until I saw Dale doing the same damn thing. Dinah Dale, that fucking otter's kind of a softie, ain't he? You don't think it's got to do with his painkiller addiction? I popped 4 of those pills he takes earlier, you know, for the aches. It ain't the sort of thing to put you in a gunfighting mood. I nod. Despite everything she's telling me, I can't really focus on it. I keep looking back toward the closed reading room door behind me. Yeah, we trapped Chasing there, didn't we? Fuck. Might as well just get it over with. I'll take a deep breath. Did you let Chase out? What? She seems confused at the sudden change of topic. Chase, Leo's lover boy? Former lover boy. He hasn't been pounding on the door to get out. Boy, what are you talking about? I haven't seen him since you brought him and the Hendricks boy to City Hall the other afternoon. I turn, moving out to the hallway and unlocking the reading room door. I always thought it was weird that it had a lock facing the hall, though I think Auntie mentioned there used to be a back exit through here. The hell? Flynn, what did you do? I ignore my aunt's exasperated voice as I push open the door, stepping into the dark room. It's mustier than a skunk's arse in here with all the rain damage. I can practically feel the mildew and mould on my toes as I run my hand along the wall. Eventually I find the light switch. Chase? He's not in here? Cole's voice takes me by surprise, the ram standing slightly behind me. And of course Daxton's there too, the salamander gawping at the interior like he's in some kind of museum. I can't believe you locked Chase up. Like, do city clerks have the authority to do that? Not unless he's, like, archiving him? You told him. I glare down at the ram, who quickly throws up the flat of his paws defensively. He's your roommate, dude. Come on. It's not like he's part of the old group anyway. Fortunately, like Cole said, I don't see the rest of the gang. Cole notices me peering past him and speaks up. They're talking with Mark outside. It's about time he showed up. Hi, Mayor. Hi. The two of them wave awkwardly. Auntie looks at the both of them with a sort of perplexed frown. Hey, y'all. She responds abruptly, quickly looking back up to me. Now, Flynn, just give me a sec. He's got to still be in here. I see a stained blue V-neck shirt laying on the ground in the corner by the old bookshelves. Chase? Still no response. It's then I notice there's something moving on his shirt. Little specks that seem to be gathering in the folds of the fabric. Oh, fuck me. I hold out my arm across the doorway, pushing Cole and Daxton back. Dude, what? Auntie, did Mark set off these bug bombs after work on Monday like I asked? I'm assuming by your tone that he did not. They hatched. Oh, goodness. Can we not play the pronoun game right now? What are you talking about? I see the unused can sitting knocked over in the corner. Stay back, it's Black Widows. I lower my arm and walk over to it, quickly popping the top and watching the fogger begin to mist the foul-smelling fumigation spray into the air. The effect is near instant. The skittering pattern of the little spiders begins to grow more erratic. I watch as an adult one on Chase's shirt clambers on top of an increasingly still pile of the little spiders. It just sits there, writhing. I can feel something on my foot too, but my scales are too thick for it to be of any threat to me. I hear Cole mutter behind me. Okay, I take back what I've always said. You do have balls. Excuse me? Oh, sorry, Mayor Moore. Boys, I don't have time for this. As I look past the shelves, I see a big lump of fur curled up in the corner under one of the old metal desks. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. I dash over, grabbing at the otter's scruff and yanking his arse out of there. He's surprisingly light, and I realise I've never picked him up before. Oh, damn, is he okay? Walter, give me water. There's some in the mini-fridge, I'll get it. As I put him into better light, he looks like absolute shit. His lips are chapped bloody, and the whites of his eyes are bloodshot. There's also dribbles of vomit on the floor, which I have the misfortune of stepping in. Vomit and spiders. Fucking great. Chase, wake the fuck up. I give his face a hard slap. Cole winces. The otter wheezes rapidly, letting out a kind of low moan. Man, he's terrified of spiders. I know. Calm, alright? The ram speaks in an uneasy tone, visibly uncomfortable at seeing Chase like this. Yeah, maybe. Next thing I know, Aunt is handing me a bottle of water, and I bring it to his lips. Drink, you stupid idiot. If this was a prank of yours, it ain't a real gutbuster, Flynn. Move over, you're gonna drown him. I feel a weird tingle at the back of the neck. Reluctantly, I step aside. I look at Chase, and part of me hopes he never wakes up. And I feel sick. Why is he just in his breeches? I blink, glancing down and getting an eyeful of Chase's briefs. You didn't undress him before you shoved him in there, right? Or was that a part of it? Jesus fuck no, God no! I didn't do that. Daxton gives me a dubious look before shifting his concerned gaze back to the otter. Auntie, meanwhile, is propping his head up on a couple of office chair cushions, quietly urging the otter to drink as she wets his lips. They part for a moment, and Chase complies enough to get a swallow down. Again, part of me breathes a sigh of relief, while the other half seems to be filled with this sort of angry dread. Don't wake up. Daxton crouches down beside him, pulling back some of the fur around his collarbone and showing the swelling red skin beneath. Must have been where he got bit, and of course 911 ain't working. Cole chuckles nervously. I guess it's too late to suck the venom out, right? You know that doesn't actually work, it's just dumb old westerns that made people believe that crap. Well, I had a great-grandpa or great-great-grandpa who died of a spider bite. I mean, I think it was a tarantula or something. Tarantulas ain't that venomous. He was old as hell, and there might have been like a fuckload of them, I don't know. Boys, this is real reassuring talk, but could one of you get me one of them first aid kits from the bathroom? It's just round the corner. Daxton stands up again and nods, heading off. Chase's eyes are fluttering a bit now. Maybe he's having like a seizure, or dreaming something real crazy? I can't tell. The salamander returns, clutching the thick metal case that looks like it's from the 90s. Auntie takes it, opening it up and grabbing what she needs like she's done this 100 times before. She applies the cold water to a piece of cloth and presses it against the spot near Chase's neck where the bite is. Once it's damp, she takes an old tube of antibiotic cream and squeezes out about a quarter of the contents onto the bite spot and lathers it in. Chase winces, letting out a quiet cry. Stop. His voice is high-pitched and kind of pathetic, like a child's. Oh, don't whine. You're a big boy. I'd be whining if I was in his position. It's kind of fitting, like Carl said, ain't it though? He looks to me, as if trying to gauge my expression. I managed him to keep pretty stone-faced, despite everything. If he did what you're saying he did. I can tell the weird distance Carl and I are keeping from him, despite his sorry state, is unnerving the salamander. Just a couple of hours ago, it was all figured we were old friends and such. Chase begins to sit up, and it's like my heart lurches. I get that feeling in my skull again, like brain freeze. No. Only Carl seems to notice as I clutch my temple, the ram giving me a nervous, concerned look. Finally, Chase looks to me. Flynn? Again, with the childlike voice. It's like he's taunting me. I stuck in my lips. The fuck am I supposed to say? I want to slap him again. I want the fucking truth. But he looks fucking pathetic. Everything's stiff. No kidding. You rolled in a darn Black Widow nest, kid. More interesting things to add to your little movie that you're making of our fair town. Auntie sighs. I'm worried you'll have some more content here in a bit. What? What? Ow. He sees through his teeth as he clutches at his neck. What's going on? He reminds me of TJ, like he's about to start crying at a moment's notice or something. I haven't seen him like this in a long time. Carl's gaze shifts to the floor. I feel weird. You okay? Everything hurts, but it feels different. It's like this isn't a dream. It's not. I look to Auntie. He's gonna be fine, right? These bites can be real painful. It could have been nastier with a brown recluse, but it still ain't gonna be fun. I'd get him to some professional help if I were you. If it's possible. I'm not gonna die? Chase peeps up, still clutching at his neck. Unless you're an infant, elderly or allergic, it's doubtful. The otter closes his eyes, letting out a long exhale. Meanwhile, Auntie stands up, heading toward the door. I need to speak with Mark and see what he found. I'll be outside. Thanks. Uh-huh. As she leaves, I can hear the rumble of engines and hushed murmurs from a small crowd. Then the door shuts and it's quiet again. What's wrong with you, Chase? I tried to keep my voice steady, though my vocal cords shrill a bit as I say his name. I practiced for years to get rid of the girly gay tinge my voice had after puberty, but at times like this, I can't really hide it. Are you like a fucking sociopath or something? Are you getting off to this? You just gotta go home and come thinking about all the pain you caused. Daxton flinches. I can tell he wants to step in Chase's defence, but Chase says nothing. I can understand screwing me over, you know? I originally figured you didn't give two shits about Sydney or what happened to him. You just wanted my dick and that's fine. You followed me back at the river because that's all you wanted. Leo and the rest of your friends be damned. But fuck, it was so much worse. Just admit it. Just say the words. No. What? Chase's arms and legs shake as he sits on the floor, craning his neck to look up at me. You're saying you didn't do it, despite what TJ said? He looks toward the door. You're an arsehole, Flynn. He speaks, his voice still having that squeaky prepubescent cadence to it. But Sydney was a friggin' evil idiot, and I'm glad he died. You're glad you killed him. I'm glad he died. That's no secret. Daxton, looking 2 parts tense and awkward, steps further away from the otter. Chase's eyes begin to well up. He looks so weak, but brimming with emotions. The salamander mutters something about checking on the commotion outside and heads outward. The noise from the parking lot is getting louder. I hadn't really noticed. Someone shouts about something, and I hear someone else speaking quickly, trying to calm them, and a long silence follows. Carl's like a statue beside the desk, unmoving, not daring to risk drawing attention to himself. Those last 6 months before it happened, it wasn't him anymore. Or at least, not fully him. What do you mean? You remember that one time he got Toby that ice cream cone from the corner shop in Paynton? The cactus themed place that had the agave ice cream? Pause. It's such a weirdly specific thing that it takes me a moment to recall. It's also fucking strange hearing Chase call TJ Toby again. He teased him the whole car ride up, and he was upset like usual. Sydney bought him that strawberry waffle cone scoop, the one with the pointy end. He felt guilty, I think, for a while. Toby was talking about Sunday school or something, and Sydney just took the cone and started trying to stab him with the pointed end. It just crushed in on itself, but he wouldn't stop, like he was super into it. And then he just acted like he was scared, not getting punished or anything, but like, just in general, you know? I remember that. The shop manager was yelling at him, and he looked terrified. I told him not to worry about the townies. My teenage self thought it was hilarious. Do you remember the moment he decided to do that? The look on his face? It was like Chase clutches at his neck some more, the otter clenching his eyes shut. The thing was in front of him. Chase gesticulates the front of his head, making a swelling motion before letting both of his arms drop limply to the ground. Jesus. It's like I just woke up from a really long bad dream. I haven't been myself in so friggin' long. Out of the corner of my vision, I can see Cole looking at me. The same shit that was happening to Sydney after what happened to you. But fuck, I didn't see you do any of that shit until this week. I don't know, I just had bad dreams at first. Sometimes I'd see the stuff from the dreams in the real world. I just kinda numbed myself to it. And Leo helped me keep my mind off things, I guess. He looks over to Cole. Then we went to college, and it wasn't so bad. I stopped taking my medication, and things felt a little better, I guess. Not great, I was still all hollow, but at least I wasn't seeing the demented crap at the end of my bed anymore. Chase takes a drink from his water bottle, cringing at the pain from each gulp. I don't know what to say. I was beginning to think I was going nuts, like I was seeing shit that wasn't real, but hearing him talk about it out loud. Just like Sydney, that weird look he'd have before looking upset or scared or doing some real heinous shit. And Chase was doing it while ordering fucking brunch. I'm sorry. Something's wrong with me, or was, I don't know. Guess, we can add that to the checklist of things to ask your aunt about. Chase begins to stand up groggily. What? The front door's pushed open, Jenna standing in the doorway. Guys, you should get out here. She spots Chase steadying himself against the desk, her eyes widening and her ears flicking back momentarily. Oh, Chase, you're here. And where are your clothes? There are spiders on them, Cole mutters. Okay, just get out here. Jenna heads back out. Chase pushes himself off the deck, beginning to walk forward like a zombie from one of those old VHS films that we used to watch. Whoa, man, they have like some spare touristy shirts and stuff around here somewhere. Do you seriously think Echo gets enough tourists to justify merchandise? I just need to get back to the motel. Clinic first. The otter stumbles a bit, and though with some hesitation, Carl and I take him by each shoulder and help him through the door. I'll make sure to grab my rifle, though. You still didn't answer my question. Chase says nothing. Okay, so there's a couple of things going on there. So Chase is saying that he was like affected or possessed by this whole thing. But whether that made him kill Sydney or not, whether that was because he was possessed or whether that was of his own volition, we're still not quite sure. Okay, we're going outside now. We exit City Hall and are instantly greeted by a slew of faces. This is a load of fresh shit, you know that? What do you mean when you say we can't leave? Everyone seems to be gathered around the front entrance, the headlights from half a dozen cars lighting up as we exit. Most eyes are on Auntie. The air has this sort of smoky tinge to it, like someone's cooking something. I wonder if it's from the fire I saw earlier. You all come here because you wanted answers. Now you're going to listen to them, or not? I recognise most of the people in the crowd. Janice, Duke, Kudzu, Micah, Heather, Bark, and shit, about a dozen more. Some of them look downright terrified. Others like Micah, the klepto shithead from Tetanus Alley, just looks pissed, agitated by whatever the hell Aunt is saying. I can see Duke, the old widower who lives next to Leo, somewhere back by his car. He's not looking at my aunt anymore. He's fixated on Chase with his sort of 1,000-yard stare. From the back of the crowd, I see the lumbering figure of Leo. At sight of us, he pushes his way through. Chase. Leo stops, rubbing the back of his neck and looking off to the side as he notes the otter's state of undress. You're back and naked. Chase has this weird sort of look on his face, like he'd never seen Leo before in his life. Like this some incredibly awkward encounter with a stranger. Yeah, a black widow bit me. And that made you naked? Leo turns, looking to me suspiciously. Fuck you, I didn't do it. God, I got no time for this shit anymore. Leo's brow furrows. I keep expecting him to jolt out his arm to slug me, but he just looks tired and confused. I sat in the nest of a bunch of them, and they got everywhere. That's awful. Are you alright? Leo brings his large paw up to Chase's shoulder. Chase flinches, and the wolf quickly releases his grasp, giving the otter a quizzical look. Okay. Well, not really, but, you know. He rubs the bite area on his neck, biting his cheek as he stares at the gravel between his feet. I don't know, Chase, we need to get you to a doctor. But I've got to ask, why'd you run off earlier? I didn't mean to. I just did. Chase, that doesn't make any sense, yeah? Auntie begins to speak up again. Let's talk plain like. Most of you are seeing things. Bad things. Some folks around here have started acting real strange, more so than the usual suspects on their bouts with the happy juice. And nobody's getting any tower or satellite signals for the phones and the internet. The landline's fuzzy too. A couple of people nod. Micah's now looking over his shoulder, seemingly unfocused on what Auntie's saying. Mark tried to head off to Peyton to see if the county officers knew what was going on. He got about as far as the Flint turnoff before he found himself on the old Route 65 leading back into town. He tells me he tried 3 times to get through with no luck. Now, I would have slapped him on the head with a roll of newspaper and told him to take his clown to the circus if I hadn't heard the same sort of thing from my grandpa decades ago. Folk travelling in buggies trying to escape the madness of the town, but they got snared in one hell of a web. If you've been thinking your dreams have been getting real queer as of late, you ain't alone. It's been getting worse. Honestly, I was packing my bags to get out of here before it hit. I wasn't ready to leave. I remember telling Auntie I wanted to stay for Carl's interview, but I wanted to also see if I could get to the bottom of shit with TJ too. So you're saying there's no way out? That we're in, what, an inescapable bubble? Sweetheart, it's like the ride. It goes in, it's pulled out. And sometimes it pulls stuff with it. My grandpa, God rest his soul, told me it was attracted to the uncouthness of man, the ires and desires with which we cannot unshackle ourselves. Simple sin. A mournful look crosses her face, and she takes a deep breath. Mark. She looks over to the horned toad, our town's treasurer. He's standing by his black 4-door SUV. I always made fun of him for buying it. Black cars in the desert ain't a good mix unless you're keen on baking. He reaches into the car and pulls out a lumpy something wrapped in a flamboyantly coloured beach towel. I recognise the faded logo in the corner as one from Southwestern Adventures. An old souvenir, maybe. Mark herks as he steps in front of the mare with it, setting it on the ground. The first thing I see are the feet sticking out of the end. Someone in the back, Heather I think, screams. It's a banshee-like wail as Mark pulls back the fabric. No. Keith? It's not Keith. At first it's difficult to tell exactly what I'm looking at, but after a few moments I can see clearly who it is. Who is it? We've got a oh, who is this? Guy sells a body. That's Salem. Keith. Jesus. No. TJ begins to sob, his terrified sniffles mixing with Heather's confused, shrill cries. The boy is covered in lacerations, most of which are on his face. 2 swipes of whatever cut him seems to have torn his eyes apart and part of his snout. I always thought when someone had their eyes taken out, it'd just be black holes inside, but it's pink. It's like I'm looking into the guy's brain. I feel like I'm gonna hurl. What happened to him? he tried to leave. Yeah, but how did that happen? The raccoon, who up to this point I've never seen as anything but the strong silent type, looks shaken up bad. He clutches his forehead with a paw, shaking his head. God, for a second he looked like someone else. I barely know Salem. He's a recent move-in who originally squatted on vacant land in an RV until the landowner started making him pay to live there. He kept to himself, never even said 2 words to the guy. That's an accomplishment when you're stuck in a town with just about 50 people still living there. Mark tells me that the 3rd time he tried to leave, he saw him just laying there on the side of the road next to his RV, dead as a doorknob. So to answer your question, I don't know. These things always end, but there's no clear definition of when or how. I advise, as I do in all trying times, to turn to the higher powers, pray, and repent as you may. There's a shocked silence from those present. Daxton keeps shaking his head. Jenna tries the phone again. Micah stares off into the dark in the direction of the highway. I know how to make the vision stop. Oh, it's Duke. The weasel steps up to Auntie, though he's not looking at her. Yeah, what's your proposal, Duke? He points the pink finger toward Chase. We stop him. Chase sort of half blinks, his bloodshot eyes aimed all unfocused like at the scruffy weasel. What? I can't discern who that voice come from. This has all happened before. He looks toward Auntie, who nods inquisitively. And it's only going to get worse. It happened to my granddaddy, my daddy, now it's happening to me. Well, me and the rest of yous. Dale's missing. Cynthia drove off into the desert. Clint and Jeremy are running around, shooting and screaming at nothing. Thing is, we've all got something after us, something bad. Won't let you leave when it starts. What's after you? The raspy voice bat chimes up, still looking off into the desert, away from the crowd. Duke's quiet for a moment, rolling a handmade cigarette between his thumb and index finger. It's always triggered by something. Duke begins to pace, still pointing at Chase. I seen you here last week, before all the rest of your little friends showed up. Late at night, outside his house. He nods in Leo's direction, the wolf clasping Chase's shoulder protectively, just standing there. For hours and hours. I didn't even need to be asleep to see ya. That last line rings strange, Duke saying it as if it made perfect sense. Chase's gaze shifts to his feet, his legs begin to tremble. Hey, I'm not saying you did it, or that you're wanting this to all happen. He steps over Salem's body, approaching the otter. It's just that you gotta know something, anything that we can use to stop this. Because anytime I ask big old Leo here, he just got this glazed look in his eyes, telling me where I could stick my inquiries. That doesn't make sense. Well, my someone told me that you would know. It's at this point I see the black metallic shape sticking out of the back of the weasel's trousers. He's got a gun. Daxton flinches, seeing it too. Ah, shit. He mutters, and I can feel Cole step closer against me. Who? Someone. I know. He yells, leaning in closer to Chase. Leo steps completely in front of him, ears down, with his fangs bared. It makes sense. Something bad happens, and if you don't fix it, it won't stop coming after you. Maybe for you. Leo's snarl turns into a tight, tepid frown. He looks unnerved, uneasy with Duke and what he's saying. This is all real timely, with your friend showing up. So, what happened, Chase? I don't know what you're talking about. Auntie exchanges a glance with Mark, then they both look to Chase, seemingly unconcerned that Duke is packing. Things are getting worse out here, and unless we do something, we're all going to end up like young Salem. Duke's voice is dead and distant. He's right. Auntie's voice cuts through the air like a knife. Next thing I know, her and Mark are stepping up beside Duke. Flynn, come here. My heart lurches at hearing my name called, and I strain myself to keep a straight face. I try not to look at the body as I walk up, feeling my backside illuminated by a dozen headlights and the gaze of the crowd. You lot Chase in the reading room with all them spiders? Why'd you do that? You what? Didn't know about the spiders at the time? I mumble. Flynn. She looks away for a moment. Oh God. We got no choice but to condemn Chase. Condemn him. But to what fate? Okay. Click. Pretty sure he killed Sydney. I clutch my head, the blood in my veins feeling cold. It's as if the gravel beneath my feet has turned into quicksand. My mouth moves as if to say more, but I manage to bite my tongue. This just makes the pain worse. The fuck's happening? I can see Jenna covering her face with both paws, seemingly in disbelief that this is really happening. There's a few murmurs from the gathering. Micah looks back at us, seemingly distracted from whatever was in the desert that he was staring at. You're talking about your little friend who drowned in the lake a decade ago? Yeah. Wow, kid. He clicks his tongue, shaking his head at the bedraggled looking otter. That's fucked up. Chase starts to look like TJ again, as if on the urge of breaking down into sobs. He seems to be alternating from angry, sad, and confused, over and over again. This ain't right how you guys are handling this, yeah? Duke, Flynn, Mayor Lady, you really need to fuck off? We'll handle this. I don't reckon I believe that. Sid died like 10 years ago. This doesn't make any fucking sense. Well, this sort of murder happened before. My grandpappy lived through this whole thing and stayed in the town after. Yeah, that's right. It happened weeks after the body was found. Auntie rubs her thumb through her floral scarf, staring into the headlights of one of the old jeeps. The one in the mines. The air got all electric and fuzzy. Folk went out of their heads. She's never talked about any of this before. How do you know that? Brett gabbed about it a lot when you were a young'un, and even before you were born. Dad. The whole superstition was part of his justification for making like a library and booking it. Well, that, and one other reason. I tried to ignore the last comment, still focusing on the increasingly tense stare down between Leo, Chase and Duke. I heard Mum and Dad hated Echo, mainly the usual grumblings about godlessness. Any ailments they had were surely the fucking results of some latent sin. Point is, the ground beneath our feet is a tainted soil, rotten, shaky loam. Duke interrupts, but Auntie doesn't seem to mind. She's just frowning now, looking to the crowd of people. Her scarf's come undone due to all the fidgeting, and some of the old scars she has beneath are visible, tattered scales replaced with pink flesh. It's more rotten in some places, you'll know the ones. My grandpappy thought that because they didn't catch the murderer, it planted some seeds in the bad dirt. But that ain't true. Duke rubs at a scab along his forehead, squeezing his cigarette so hard that the ash starts pouring out the other side like toothpaste. They caught him alright, and everything was okay for a while after they found him and he was killed. The fuck does that have to do with Sydney? Duke continues, ignoring me. So, I don't know what it is, if it's murder or guilt, or not catching someone that did wrong. I shake my head. I can't believe this shit. Sid's not fucking haunting the town, meth head. But it started when you got here, so you gotta forgive me for wondering if one of you did something bad. He was 9 years old, and brought that guilt back to this poisoned land to grow the seeds again. Duke doesn't sound like himself at all, not even his recently crazed self. Still, though I don't want to admit it, I start to have an idea of what Duke might be getting at. How this all fits into our history. And judging from the look on the gathered crowd's faces, the feeling appears mutual. There's murmured inquiries about what to do. Heather is quietly sobbing, asking a group of people who ignore her why no one is helping Keith. Genevieve Sanders, a retired mail carrier from Paynton, mentions something about a lynching. Jenna's arms are crossed tight, her expression this sort of furrowed, indignant stare that slowly falters to upset confusion. TJ's next to her, one paw on her arm. I can barely hear him, but he keeps saying he's sorry, over and over. Leo begins to tug at Chase, putting him back in the direction of the van. The two begin to hurriedly walk before Auntie speaks up. Stop. I always had this niggling desire, this idea of getting justice for what happened. Sid deserved as much, but now I can't say I'm feeling any catharsis or joy. Just this hollow rumbling from my insides that this ain't right. This can't be how we fix shit. Carl has his head down now, the ram acting small despite his burly proportions. I just want to move beside him, tuck it under my arm and fuck off far away from here. Get back over here. Leo shakes his head. We're not sticking around for your shitty speeches. We're leaving. Chase needs a doctor. Come on, guys. He makes a beckoning motion to us. Jenna quickly shoves her phone into her purse, the Fennec visibly trying not to look at the body as she, TJ, Carl and Dax head to the van. Just as I start to join them, I hear a clicking noise to my side. The horrible noise is deafening. I clutch the sides of my head and crouch down. A brass shell casing falls and hits my leg, and it's hot. Duke's pointing his pistol into the air. Our group stops in their tracks, TJ falling to the ground and covering his face. Heather shrieking, screaming over and over again. And then, suddenly, she stops. There's some flailing of movement from the group that was standing near her, like the dancing you see at raves. And when they look again, I can't see her anymore. Mike has gone too. Him and a few others scattered. I can faintly see the bat's silhouette in the distance, sprinting into the desert. What the fuck, Duke? I scream at the weasel. Needed to get their attention. For the mayor, yeah? That's no fucking excuse. That shot could come back down and kill someone. Duke clutches the pistol limply in his grasp, seemingly uncaring of where he's pointing the loaded weapon as he twirls his wrist around. It's a bit late for that now. Folk have been hurt already, and they'll continue to get hurt until we stop this. I hear shouts of agreement from the remaining crowd. Auntie just nods, and I can't help but give her a dumbfounded look. I clutch my repeater close. Spiders. Spiders got him. That right, Flynn? She points to Chase. Yeah, he sat in the nest of them. Duke. She holds up a finger, fast walking back into the office without another word. Duke watches our group by the van, and everyone's quiet. His pistol is aimed up at the sky. After a minute, she returns with a piece of faded paper clutched in her hands. There's some old-timey writing on both sides of it. She holds it up to Mark and Duke. Mark uses his telephone as a light as they begin to read, Duke lowering his gun. I can see Jenna moving by the edge of the fan. She's motioning toward me, and then Duke. What does she want me to do, disarm him? One quick chop of the wrist, that'd do it, I guess. I'd have to drop my repeater though. I don't really want to risk that, at least not yet. Surprisingly, Chase speaks up. What's it say? Boy, I think you know what it says. You were rooting through this stuff and plucking all these records Thursday. James Hendrick's notice of death. Cole visibly stiffens. Guess what killed him? Spiders. I step up, squinting at the paper. It's the notice of death, alright, for reference in an estate transfer. It's for a James Hendricks, who passed away in 1913. The cause of death is listed as poison, infection, Theraphosidae, tarantula. Chase shifts uncomfortably. Chase's ass got planted on by some black widows. And what does Cole's old great whatever have to do with this? James Hendricks the First was a notorious sodomite, like Chase. I sigh. What? You say he was looking at this the other day. He's working on a school project. Hell, that's why he's there. So he claimed. Are you sure about that? Auntie seems to pry at my own niggling doubt. I look back at the pathetic looking otter. He looks to me. And then Dax steps up. Hey, he stops just short of the body on the ground. Daxton straightens his posture, folding his hands behind his back. Mr. Duke, I think you're making a lot of really interesting headway into how we can solve all this. You know, much better than just hiding out in our houses from rampant chaos and the like. But, Salem here? He uneasily gestures toward the corpse on the towel, his bored hollow eye sockets still staring at the stars above. Whatever got him? I think stopping/avoiding that should be our priority number one. 'Cause, I mean, I've only known Chase for about half a week, but he doesn't seem like the sort to be capable of all this. Kid, I've known Chase all my life, and I'd reckon something similar. But at the end of the day, Chase didn't do this. It's what Chase did that did this. This town needs justice. Hell, that little city kid needs justice. I'm gonna save you all. And just make it so that he leaves me alone, once and for all. Who? Who leaves you alone? Duke doesn't respond, instead raising his pistol. I can't tell who he's aiming at. His paw shaky. I need to do something. Jesus fuck. I do nothing. Oh god. We are not in control of this situation at all. I stand there, and I can see Jenna beside the van, looking at me pleadingly. Auntie's peering at me now, a strange look on her face. This isn't right. I should do something. My head's killing me. Something's wrong. And at the worst possible fucking time. I grip my teeth, concentrating on what's really happening. Duke says something I can't quite make out, and Daxton stammers back a retort. I've had visions of Chase too, but nothing that points toward that as a conclusion. Leo slides Chase behind him, the wolf's ears pinned to the side of his head. Raise or trust? Oh god. So, what do you want to do? Are we trying to, like, ease the situation, or are we going to, like, inflame it? Because I think if you raise your gun to someone, it's going to cause trouble. Or we could trust Daxton that he's got his shit sorted out. Flynn's been standing on the side a little bit too much, I think. Let's get involved. Raise your gun. Despite the throbbing pain, I managed to pull up my gun and aim it at Duke. Drop it, fucker. Flynn. Let him die. Someone in the crowd yells. Fuck you. I ain't gonna kill him, Flynn. He just needs to stay put. If the spider bites get him, then it's fate. And if he doesn't stay put, I'll make him stay put. The fuck you will. Put the gun down. Duke just stares ahead at the otter, pistol still raised. Daxton holds up his hands, ultimately stepping to the side and out of the line of fire. You don't need to do this. I said drop it. Why won't he fucking listen? Duke says nothing. Do it. I see the weasel exhale, traces of cigarette smoke, leaving his nostrils and dissipating into the hazy air. Slowly, his wrist goes limp, and he lowers his arm to his side. I step over and knock the gun out of a paw. You're dooming us, kid, and your friend's gonna get away with murder. I scoff. The fuck you will, now shut up. We're leaving. Auntie moves over beside me, resting her hand on my shoulder. Flynn, you can't make this decision for everyone. There's something wrong with you. I can't believe you entertained this fucking meth head's proposal. I used to think you were a good person, you know, but fuck that. Which trials it is? I spit on the ground. Auntie lowers her hand and begins to fidget with her scarf, her gaze shifting downcast. Used to think us Moors were immune to all this sordid business, but I don't think you are. Not anymore. Be careful, Flynn. She turns, walking back toward Mark, who's busy rewrapping Salem's body and bringing him inside. It's rare to see her look so uneasy, trying to run a shit town like Echo. You get a thick skin for shit crumbling round ya, but nothing like this. Leo quickly helps Chase into the van, and the rest of the gang follows. Oh man, we are out of here, and we've made it to Sunday, and that is the end of this episode. This is Usho signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time. And what the hell was that at the back of the mine? Alright, we're gone.